This is the right-handed step-by-step William Whale crochet tutorial. Before starting, please gather the items needed. You'll need your dry erase pattern card, your dry erase marker, your black and white yarn, your KelliDream magic circle tool, your 4mm hook, your pair of safety eyes with the backings, 3 stitch markers, a tapestry needle, and stuffing, as well as your own pair of scissors. Pause this video at any time by clicking on it. So now you're going to start by taking out your black and white yarn. For the purposes of this video, I will be using yellow yarn instead of black yarn. So wherever you see me use yellow, you're going to use black. The reason for this is because black yarn is almost impossible to see the stitches on film. At home with enough light, you should be able to see it just fine, but while I'm teaching you guys, you need to be able to see something more clearly. So we went with yellow. Okay, for our first row, we're going to make a magic circle. You're going to place the magic circle tool with the groove facing towards you and insert your working yarn into that top slit. You turn on its side and wrap around twice, making an X, and then hold it with your index finger. Now insert your hook facing down, going under the first loop and grabbing onto the second. Then pull under and twist slightly, yarn over and pull through. Use your index finger to secure the loop, then go under, yarn over again, and pull under so you have 2 loops. Yarn over and pull through both of those loops. That is your first stitch. You're going to repeat this process 5 more times until you have 6 stitches on your magic circle tool. You'll be able to tell because each of the stitches will make a small V shape. So at the end, you'll be able to count each V shape and make sure you have 6 for your magic circle. Like I said before, if you lose track, just count how many stitches you have. So right here, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I need 1 more. Go under, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. And now I have 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now I'm done with the magic circle. I'm going to insert my stitch marker into that first stitch. That'll help us know where to crochet on the next round. Then I'm going to tug on my hook to make that loop nice and big so we don't lose it. Remove my working yarn from that top slit and gently pull it off. Then you're going to pull on the tail, gently pull to tighten, and it should look something like this. This nice little magic circle. Now we're going to start round 2, which calls for 6 increases. An increase is just 2 single crochets into the same stitch. So we're going to go into that first stitch, the first V that's marked by our stitch marker. We're going to go through it, yarn over, pull through and create a loop. So we'll have 2 loops, yarn over again, and pull through both. Now do our second single crochet into that stitch. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through both of those loops. That's our first increase. Now we're going to move our stitch marker to mark the first of those 2 so we know where to end this row. Count back 1, 2 because you just did 2 of them and mark that first one. Then we're going to do this again. Into that next V stitch, go in under, yarn over and pull through, yarn over, pull through. Do it again. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. Now we're going to do the same thing 4 more times, 2 single crochet into each one of the V stitches. So an increase in each stitch. Our last stitch is the one right before the stitch marker that tells us we're done with this row. And once you finish, you should be able to count the V shapes on this row, and you should have 12 of them. That's a good way to check if you've done the right amount of stitches. For round 3, we're going to do a single crochet and then an increase. So our first one, we'll do a single crochet just one time, and we'll move our stitch marker to mark that first stitch. Then the next stitch, we're going to do an increase. So in this one, we're going to go in twice like we did in the previous row. 1, 2. Then we'll go back to a single crochet. Then the next one will be an increase. And then a single crochet. You'll repeat this pattern all the way until you get back to that stitch marker. The last stitch before your stitch marker should be an increase. So you'll be ending the row with an increase. You can go back and count your stitches and make sure you have 18. Round 4 will be very similar, except this time we're going to do 2 single crochets and then an increase. So like we did last time, we'll start with that single crochet and then move our stitch marker over. Once we've moved our stitch marker, we're going to do our second single crochet into the next stitch. Then we'll do our increase, which is 2 single crochets into the same stitch. Then we'll go and do another single crochet, and then finally another increase. And you'll repeat this pattern all the way around. The final stitch count for this row should be 24 stitches. So once you finish, you can always go back around and count all of the little V's and make sure you have 24. And then you're ready to move on to the next round. Round 5 is going to be 3 single crochets and then an increase. So as always, we're going to start with our first single crochet into that same stitch with our stitch marker. Then we're going to move our stitch marker to mark the new stitch. Then we're going to move our stitch marker. Once we moved our stitch marker, we're going to do our second single crochet into the next stitch, and then our third single crochet into the next stitch. and then we'll do our increase. Then 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet, 3 single crochet, and then our increase. You'll repeat this pattern all the way around until you get back to your stitch marker. The final stitch count for this row should be 30, so feel free to go back and count your stitches and make sure you have 30 of them. I'm going to flip our project inside out. That way the little tail of thread that you have is on the inside. Then we're going to start round 6. And round 6 is super easy because it's just single crochets all the way around. So we're going to do that first single crochet, then move our stitch marker, and then we're just going to single crochet into every single stitch all the way around until we get back to our stitch marker. So once you move that stitch marker, just go ahead and single crochet in every single stitch. If you haven't been marking down your rows on the included dry erase pattern cards, you definitely want to start doing that now because the next few rows of single crochet are all exactly the same, and it's a great way to make sure you remember which row you're actually on. It's very necessary for me to remember which row. So you can go ahead and mark down that you finished round 6. And you should end this row with the same number of stitches you started with, which is 30. Round 7 is the same thing, 30 stitches, all single crochet. So single crochet into that first one, move your stitch marker, and then single crochet all the way around 30 times. You'll end the row with 30 stitches. As you end this round, be sure to mark off on your pattern cards that you've completed round 7. Now moving into round 8, we're going to do our first single crochet, and we're going to move our stitch marker, and then we're going to single crochet all the way around 30 times. You can go ahead and double check that you end this round with 30 stitches once you reach your stitch marker, and go ahead and mark off on your pattern card that you've completed round 8. Now we're going to move into round 9, which is yet again 30 single crochets. So single crochet into that first stitch, move your stitch marker, and then continue to single crochet all the way around. The end of row 9 and the start of row 10 is where we're going to switch our yarn colors. So for me, it'll be yellow to white, but for you, it will be black to white. So you're going to single crochet all the way to the end like you would. But then on that last stitch, we're going to slightly undo it. So very, very gently, we're going to remove our hook and pull the yarn out of those 2 loops very gently, leaving the loops standing. Insert your hook through the loops as they're formed. If you mess this up, don't worry, just redo that single crochet and try again. Now that you've got 2 of the black loops on your hook, you're going to take your white yarn, wrap it around your hook, and pull it through those 2 loops. Now you're going to kind of tug on the ends of the yarn to tighten as much as you can, but then you're going to continue on to the next round. So using that white yarn, you're going to single crochet into the first stitch of the next round, like you would as if it was the same color yarn you've been using. You may have to kind of tug and adjust the yarn to make sure it doesn't fall out, but once you get going, it'll secure itself. So now you've started round 10 with your new color. You're going to insert your stitch marker into that first stitch, and we're back to doing what we know. You're going to single crochet all the way around with this new color. You'll single crochet 30 times. Once you reach the end of round 10, you're going to pause for a moment and cut the black yarn. For me, it's the yellow yarn. This way, it's just not in your way. And you can tuck the loose strands just back into the body of the whale. Now going into round 11, we'll finally change things up again. Round 11 calls for 3 single crochets and then a decrease. So you're going to do that first single crochet and move your stitch marker. Same way we've been doing it every single round. Then you're going to do your second single crochet. Then your third single crochet. Now your decrease is going to be combining 2 stitches. So you're going to insert your hook through just the front loop of 2 stitches. So you'll have 3 loops on your hook. Then you're going to yarn over and pull through just those first 2 loops. Then yarn over again and pull through the last 2 loops. And that is your decrease stitch. And you'll repeat this pattern all the way around. Since you're decreasing, you'll end this round with 24 stitches. You can go back and count the V's in this round and make sure you have 24. You'll end the round on a decrease. Now for the fun part of adding the eyes, you can kind of tug on that last loop to make sure you have space where it won't fall off your hook. You're going to rotate so that the white is on the bottom. And I like to count up 2 rows from the white. So there should be 2 rows with V's and 2 gaps of holes. And on that second gap, second row, you're going to insert an eye. When you have it where you want it, you're going to press that backing on. Press down hard to make sure it sticks. If you're having a hard time, you can use a fork to help push it down. I found that seems to be useful. Now for the second eye, technically you can put it wherever you want, but I like to do it 8 stitches over. So you can just count the holes, and on that 8th little hole there, in the same line, same row, you'll insert the second eye. Once you're happy with the placement, you'll flip it inside out again and put the backing on that eye. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and stuff the whale. So you're going to put in just enough stuffing that you're still able to crochet all the way around. If you put in all the stuffing at once, it'll probably spill out and you won't be able to crochet. Don't worry, you can add the rest at the end of the whale. I'll let you know when you should be adding more. But you're going to put in as much as you can right now. Now we're going to start round 12, which is 2 single crochets and then a decrease. So we'll do that first single crochet, move our stitch marker, then we'll do our second single crochet, then we'll do our decrease, which you're going to go into the first loop of the stitch and then the first loop of the next stitch. Pull through those first 2 loops, then yarn over and pull through the next 2 loops. Then we're going to do it again. Do 1 single crochet, then a second single crochet, and then we'll do our next decrease. So you're going to go into those first 2 loops, yarn over and pull through the first 2, and then yarn over and pull through the second 2. Repeat this pattern all the way around until you reach your stitch marker. You will end on a decrease. And like I said before, you will end this round on a decrease and you will end with 18 stitches. So feel free to go back and count and make sure you have 18. Now we're going to move into round 13, which is a single crochet and then a decrease. So do your single crochet, move your stitch marker, so now that we've done that single crochet, we're going to do our decrease. So remember, go into the front loop of 1 stitch and then the front loop of the next stitch. So you have 3 loops. Yarn over and pull through the first 2, then yarn over and pull through the second 2. And that's your decrease. Then we'll do another single crochet. And then we'll do another decrease. Go in through those front 2 loops, yarn over and pull through the first 2, yarn over and pull through the second 2. Then repeat this all the way around until you get to the end. You will end this round on a decrease with 12 stitches. If there's any more stuffing you'd like to add, you'll want to add it at the end of this round before round 14, because we'll be closing the whale body soon. Now going into round 14, we're going to decrease all the way around. So you're going to start that first decrease into the stitch with the stitch marker. Then you're going to move your stitch marker to mark that new stitch. Then there are going to be no single crochets, you're just going to decrease all the way around. So at the end, you should have 6 stitches. Now we're going to make a big loop, pulling our hook out, and then cut our working yarn, leaving about a 4-inch tail. And we're going to thread our needle with that tail. You're going to go through the loop and create a knot. And this part is super fun and super satisfying. We're just going to stitch through the front loop of all of these stitches. So insert your needle through just the front loop and pull through. Insert through just the front loop and pull through. Repeat this all the way around until you get back to the knot. Once you reach the end, you're going to very gently pull on your yarn to close the hole. Then you're going to push your needle through the body and out through the top of the whale and pull it tightly to close the bottom. The end should look like this. Then you're going to take your scissors and you're going to cut your yarn where it comes out the top of the whale. Next, we'll make the side fins. You're going to place the magic circle tool with the groove facing towards you and insert your working yarn into that top slit. You turn on its side and wrap around twice, making an X, and then hold it with your index finger. Now insert your hook facing down, going under the first loop and grabbing onto the second. Then pull under and twist slightly, yarn over, and pull through. Use your index finger to secure the loop, then go under, yarn over again, and pull under so you have 2 loops. Yarn over and pull through both of those loops. That is your first stitch. You're going to repeat this process 5 more times until you have 6 stitches on your magic circle tool. You'll be able to tell because each of the stitches will make a small V shape. So at the end, you'll be able to count each V shape and make sure you have 6 for your magic circle. Once I've finished, I'll have 6 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now in that first stitch, I'm going to use my stitch marker to mark it. Then I'm going to create a big loop. I'm going to pull my working yarn out of the top slit of the magic circle tool, and then gently remove the circle off the tool. And I'm going to take that shorter piece of yarn and gently pull to tighten. And there's our magic circle. Now round 2, we're just going to single crochet all the way around. So starting that first one, do a single crochet, move your stitch marker to mark that first stitch. It's going to be very small and tight, but just kind of work with it. Then you're going to single crochet in the next one, single crochet again. You'll do this 6 times, so you'll have 6 stitches at the end. Once we reach the end, we're going to flip it inside out, so it's kind of pointy like that. We're going to cut our yarn, leaving about 4 inches, and we'll pull it through that loop to create a knot. Repeat this process and make a second fin. Now to attach the fins, you're going to thread your needle using that piece of yarn you just cut that kind of comes off the side of the fin. So you're going to count back 2 or 3 stitches on the side of the 2 and go into that first line of yellow stitches just above the white. Pull up through that. Then you're going to rotate the wale and go on to the second stitch and thread your needle under that one. So at this point, you will have not gone into the fin at all yet. Now you're going to go back through and thread your needle through those bottom stitches that make up the bottom of the fin. So you'll see I go through one, or go under one, and then under the second one. You're kind of tying the fin closed. Then you're going to pull it tight and rotate again. And then we're going to do the same thing going down into the next stitch like we did before. I'm going to go underneath it. And come up just before you go into the white, so stay in the yellow. Or in your case, sorry, the black. And then you're going to insert your needle through the last stitches in the fin. Then you're going to pull tight. And once you're happy with where the fin is, and again, if you don't like it, you can always undo it and redo. But I'm happy with where it is. So I'm going to insert my needle through the body all the way out the other side to bury my yarn. Then we're going to do the same thing with that middle piece of yarn and bury it. Once you're happy with the placement and you've buried the yarn, you can cut off those extra pieces. And if any of it sticks out, just kind of tap it back in using the needle. Now you can follow along as I repeat this same exact process on the other side of the whale with the other fin. For the tail and dorsal fins, we're going to have a couple of new stitches. First, we're going to do our magic circle. So with the groove facing you, insert your working yarn into the top slit, leaving a long tail of about 4 inches. Wrap around twice to create an X. Then we're going to insert our hook facing down, under the first loop, grabbing the second, twist, and then pull through. Now we're going to chain 2. So yarn over and pull through, yarn over, pull through. Now we're going to make a half double crochet, which means we're going to wrap the yarn around our hook and then insert it into that second stitch, so the middle of that chain. Then you're going to yarn over and pull through. So now you'll have 3 loops on your hook instead of the usual 2. Yarn over and pull through just the first 2. Use your finger if you need to hold it. Then yarn over and pull through those last 2. That's your first half double crochet. You're going to do it again. And you'll be crocheting back into that second chain. and then a treble crochet, which means wrapping around twice. And then you're going to insert it back into that same spot. Yarn over and pull through. Now you'll have 4 loops on your hook. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yarn over, pull through the first 2. Yarn over and pull through the second 2. Yarn over and pull through those last 2. That's a treble crochet. Do another one, wrap around twice, go back into that same spot, yarn over, 4 loops, yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2 again, yarn over and pull through the last 2. Now that you've got those, you're going to remove the magic circle. And you're just going to pull it shut. So basically just create a knot at the bottom there. Then you're going to cut your yarn, leave 3 or 4 inches, and then pull it through that top loop to create another knot. So now you should have something that looks like this, and that is your fin. You're going to repeat this 2 more times. Okay, so to attach our tail fins, we're going to count over 4 stitches. You're going to thread your needle using that middle piece of yarn, that long tail you left when you made your magic circle. Count over 4 stitches, and then thread the needle through that 4th stitch right on the edge of the white and black. Then you're going to position it. And it doesn't quite matter which side you position, but I like to have the curved side pointing in. Now you're going to come back through the bottom of the fin. You should have a pretty nice gap where all of your stitches meet. Then you're going to go around and go back through that bottom line again where the black and white meet. And then finally you're going to go back through this corner, the farthest corner of your fin. Then you're going to go back under one more time and attach it to the body there. Once you're happy with the placement, you're going to bury your yarn. Once you're happy with the placement, you're going to attach the second fin. For the second tail fin, you're going to start right where the first one stops and stitch through. And you're going to place it with the curved side facing the opposite direction, so facing out from the middle. And then you'll repeat the same thing, where you're going to go through, go under, and then go back through the middle. Then you'll stitch through the corner of the tail and finish attaching it. When it comes to burying the ends here, you're going to have 4 loose strands. 2 will be the ones that you use to actually stitch it onto the body, and the other 2 will be at the tip of the fins that you haven't used for anything. Now the fin you just did, the long strand, the one you used, the working yarn, that can just be pushed through the body and up out the top to bury it. The second one, you'll do something different. I like to take that middle one and attach the two fins together. There's no particular way to do this, just kind of sewing it through those bottom stitches will do it. And this will secure them so they look like one fin instead of two separate ones. And then you'll take it, put it through the body, and bury it. For the tail ends that were on the tip of the fins, you're going to very gently thread it back through the fin into the body. This may seem tedious, so you might be tempted to just cut this yarn. I just can't stress enough how you don't want to do that because it can cause your fin to unravel if you cut too close, and if you cut too far, your whale has like a tail on its fins. So as tedious as this is, it's not actually that difficult, so definitely go ahead and bury the yarn this way. Basically, just tight enough where it will actually hold the yarn, but not any tighter so that it curls the fin. Threading it through the fin keeps the structure of the fin instead of just sewing it through the bottom like you normally would, which would pull the fin in close to the body. To attach the dorsal fin, you're going to thread the same exact part, that middle strand. Find the middle of the fins and count up 4 stitches. Obviously, you can adapt this if you want it to be higher, but this is where we do it for William. You're going to thread through that, and then I like to turn it so that the curved part faces towards the top of the body. Thread your needle back through and go through the next stitch up. Just keep moving the fin. If it gets flipped around, it'll probably do that as you sew, but if you keep reorienting it back to where you want it, once you go through enough stitches, it'll stay. And again, if you make a mistake here, all you have to do is just pull out the thread and you can redo the whole thing. There's no commitment here. So it's pretty easy. Until you cut the thread, you can always redo it. And then at the bottom here, you're going to go through that corner. That's kind of our last stitch, if you feel secure. And then we're going to push our needle through the body and out through the bottom. And that's how we're going to bury our yarn once we're done. And then kind of pull the little fin up. And then that top strand, you're going to thread it through along the side of the fin. And it's important in this part to just be gentle. And you're going to push through. Now, when you pull it through, it will collapse the fin, but you're going to pull the fin back out. So see, it's a nice little ball. You're just going to gently pull it back up. And there you go. And it gives it a nice little curl. And there you have it. Like magic, now I have the same one you guys have. For this last bit, you're going to thread your needle with your remaining white yarn, and then we're going to do the markings. You're going to go up to the upper part of the eye and count over 2 stitches, and that's where you will insert your needle. Then you're going to push it up through at an angle, like diagonal to the eye, and go through 2 rows of stitches. Then you're going to wrap it around and put it back through that same spot. And you're basically just going to repeat this stitch along different sections until you're happy with the width of the white marking. But the key here is you want to always go back into that same first stitch. So kind of have it fan out from that one. You can kind of move around where you pull the stitch back up from, but always go back down into that same stitch. That will keep it cohesive and not all spread out. And you're just going to repeat this process mostly in those 2 stitches until it fills it out. So once you're happy with the placement, you're going to go back down through one more time and then go all the way out through the other side of the body to bury the thread. Cut the other end of your yarn, thread the needle, and do the same thing with that piece. Once you've buried the yarn and you're happy with everything, you can cut off the excess. You're then going to repeat this exact same process on the other eye on the other side of the whale. And now you're all done. Enjoy!